Hello everyone, I am Xiao There is a girl from Chongqing who feels tired and empty because of the busy city life, but she was accidentally deeply touched by a video of Taiwanese street food. From that moment on, she began to look forward to a trip that she could go on at any time. Unexpectedly, this journey not only satisfied her taste buds, but also allowed her to regain her inner peace and touch in a slow-paced life. Next, I will use the first person to tell the girl's experience in Taiwan. When I just returned to work after the Chinese New Year, I always felt empty in my heart. I squeezed into the subway and caught the bus every morning and worked overtime until 8-9 o'clock in the evening to go home. Although Chongqing, a mountain city, is full of delicious food, I always feel that something is missing. Maybe it is the lack of the breath of life, the lack of the calmness of slowly savoring life. I remember that it was an overtime night at the end of February. I was lying on my desk and browsing my phone, and a food video shared by a Taiwanese friend suddenly caught my eye. The quaint streets, the steaming shrimp noodles, and the smiling boss gently asking the aunt in dialect if she wanted a braised egg. At this moment, my nose suddenly felt a little sour, and I didn't know why I wanted to cry. Xiao, you said I'm going to Taiwan for 2 months. Will the company approve my leave? The next morning, I ran to ask Sister Chen, who took the most care of me and our group, why approve it, just ask. It's so convenient to go to Taiwan now, and it's easy to get a passport and visa. Sister Chen is a straightforward person. She cheered me up as soon as she slapped the table. I just came back from Taiwan last month. It's delicious. The fried chicken there is better than our tempura here. In this way, under the instigation of Sister Chen, I really started to prepare for this long-awaited trip to Taiwan. First, I studied it for several days. The strategy is a food map, so I made 3, and each city was densely marked with many small red dots. Thinking that I was about to start this journey, I couldn't sleep at night, and my mind was full of the fragrance of Taiwanese snacks. Finally, one morning in early March, I boarded a flight to Tainan. It took nearly 6 hours to fly from Chongqing to Tainan and wait for the transfer at home, but I felt particularly relaxed along the way. The person sitting next to me was a Taiwanese guy. His grandfather knew that it was my first time to go to Taiwan, and he specially recommended many authentic small shops to me. Girl, you must go to Duzhuo eat Anzai noodles, which is the pride of us Tainan people. After getting off the plane, the air of Tainan hit me in the face, with a faint salty and wet smell, which reminded me of the taste of Chongqing in summer. I took out my mobile phone and quickly sent a message to my cousin Xiao, who was studying in Tainan. I didn't expect that this girl had been waiting for me at the airport for a long time. She waved at me from a distance. Cousin, here. Xiao rode an electric bike while I shuttled through the ancient streets and alleys of Tainan. The wind blew her long hair and brushed my cheeks. I hugged her waist tightly and looked at the old houses flying by on both sides. Suddenly, I felt like traveling through time and space. Cousin, I will take you to eat Danzai noodles first. I went to this restaurant for 3 years in college and dated for 3 whole years. Xiao stopped the car in a narrow alley. At the end of the alley was an inconspicuous small shop. The curtain hanging on the shop had turned yellow, but the big characters of the shop name, Danzai noodles, were particularly eye-catching. When I opened the door, I was greeted by a rich aroma, and my stomach immediately growled. Uncle Cheng, Xiao greeted me familiarly. My cousin is from Chongqing, so I'll serve her a bowl of signature noodles. The boss, who was in his 60s, looked up and smiled at me. You're from Chongqing, so your Chongqing hot pot is famous. Come on, I'll make it less spicy for you. While waiting for the noodles, I noticed that the diners at the next table were very interesting. There were aunties speaking Taiwanese chatting about family matters while eating, students in school uniforms quietly enjoying the food, and office workers in suits and leather shoes savoring the soup while looking at their phones. The most special thing is that everyone has a calm smile on their face, as if time has become particularly slow here, allowing people to calm down and enjoy it. When the noodles came, Uncle Cheng's voice interrupted my observation. A bowl of steaming egg noodles was brought to me. A few pieces of coriander and a few shrimps floated on the clear soup, lying quietly on the noodles, and a small dish of stewed food was served next to it. I'll treat you to a taste, Uncle Cheng said with a smile. I picked up the chopsticks and slurped the noodles gently. The toughness of the noodles and the deliciousness of the soup immediately made my eyes light up. Wow, I couldn't help but exclaim, this soup is really delicious. Uncle Chang smiled happily. This is boiled with shrimp heads and bones, and it takes 4 hours to boil. In this way, I spent my first dinner in Taiwan in this small shop. During the period, Uncle Chang also told us many old stories of Tainan. It turned out that his egg noodles were a craft passed down from 3 generations of ancestors, and he had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day to prepare the ingredients. Young people nowadays think it's hard and don't want to learn this, he said with some emotion, but I think that being able to make so many people happy is the greatest happiness. The first stop of this food tour in Tainan made me deeply feel the Taiwanese people's attentiveness to food and their attitude towards life. In Chongqing, we also have a lot of delicious food, but we always feel that eating has become a hurried thing. And every bite is worth savoring. When I left Uncle Cheng's noodle shop, it was completely dark. The neon lights of Tainan flickered at night, but it didn't feel noisy. Zhao Yun drove me to the nearby cultural and creative park and told me many stories about her and Tainan on the way. My cousin will take you to eat other milkfish, coffin boards, and grass fruit tomorrow. There are many delicious foods in Tainan. In this way, I started my food exploration journey in Tainan. The next morning, Xiao Yun dragged me to a breakfast shop. Unlike the pancakes and soy milk and fried dough sticks in Chongqing, the breakfast of Tainan people is wan go milk fish porridge and a variety of side dishes. In a shop called Grandma Wan Go, I first saw the patience of Tainan people in queuing. It was clearly the morning rush hour on a weekday, but none of the people in the queue showed an impatient expression. The aunt in front of me even turned back and asked me if it was my first time here. I wanted to order milkfish belly, which was very fresh. While queuing, I encountered a particularly heartwarming thing. An old lady had difficulty standing because of her inconvenience in legs and feet. Immediately, several young people took the initiative to give up their seats, and someone helped her to food at the counter. This scene reminded me of the scene in Chongqing, where sometimes on the bus the elderly stood while the young people put on headphones and pretended to sleep. The naturalness and thoughtfulness of Taiwanese people towards the elderly also touched me deeply. After playing in Tainan for 4 days, I reluctantly got on the train to Kyoxiang. Zhao Yun specially helped me book a window seat, saying that the scenery along the way was particularly beautiful. The sunlight outside the window gently sprinkled on the farmland, and occasionally I could see the busy figures of farmers in the fields. The first stop in Kaesong was Fisherman's Wharf. Grandpas and grandmas always say that if you want to eat seafood, you must go to Kyoxiang. Walking on the pier, the salty sea breeze blew in my face, which made me, a girl from Chongqing, feel very novel. I found a seafood restaurant recommended by the local. The owner is a dark-skinned, middle-aged uncle. You can tell at a glance that he is an old fisherman. Girl, today's seafood is very fresh. Look, this crab was replenished this morning. The boss greeted warmly. But to my surprise, he did not exaggerate or promote it like some domestic seafood restaurants. I suggest you order this size, which is just right for one person and the price is affordable. His recommendation is both professional and practical, which made me like him at once. After eating seafood, it was still early, so I decided to go to a nearby internet's celebrity cafe. This store was converted from an old house and is said to have a history of more than 70 years. As soon as I opened the door, I saw an old couple cleaning up their tableware. The old man carefully put the coffee cups together, and the old lady wiped the table carefully with a paper towel. Grandpa and Grandma, no need to clean up, I'll do it. The waiter hurriedly said, it's okay, it's just a little effort. The old lady smiled and replied, we are all used to it, and it is the same at home. Looking at this warm scene, I suddenly remembered that I had seen too many people in Chongqing casually leaving their tableware and walking away, and I couldn't help feeling ashamed. During my days in Kamai, I also encountered a particularly heartwarming thing. One day it was raining heavily, and I was waiting for the bus at the MRT station. Suddenly I found that I didn't bring an umbrella. When I was worried, a big sister with an umbrella next to me took the initiative to say, Sister, do you want to go together? I will give you a ride. In this way, I shared an umbrella with this stranger and we chatted while walking. I knew that she was a fruit seller nearby and she said, Come, I will treat you to pineapples. They are especially sweet today. When we arrived at the destination, the big sister insisted on giving me the pineapples. Welcome to Kaohsiung. This friendship made me feel the warmth of home in a foreign land. When I returned to my residence at night, I sent a message to my mother and told her about my experience today. My mother replied, "Daughter, this is human touch." On the way from Kaohsiung to Taichung, I met a couple with a child. Their daughter was about 4 or 5 years old and was very cute. What impressed me most was that after the little girl finished eating snacks in the car, she took the initiative to fold the wrapping paper and put it into the garbage bag in her mother's bag. She also said, in a baby voice, that the garbage should be sorted. This reminded me that I never had this awareness when I was a child. In Taichung, I deliberately went to a parent-child restaurant with good reviews. There are many interactive areas designed in the restaurant so that children can learn while playing. I saw a mother teaching her child how to use public chopsticks. Remember, these are public chopsticks for everyone to pick up food. Everyone should pay attention to hygiene. The child nodded seriously and took the initiative to remind the children at the next table. What touched me most was the last few days in Taipei. That day, I went to a very ordinary noodle restaurant and met a customer that I will never forget. He is a middle-aged man with one arm. Although he has difficulty in moving, he insists on cleaning up the plates himself. He carefully put the bowls and chopsticks into the recycling area with his only remaining left hand and sorted the garbage. Other customers were very natural and did not cast strange eyes. Instead, they naturally lent a hand when he needed help. "Sorry, I may be a little slow," he said to the person behind him, embarrassed. "It's okay, take your time." The people behind him responded very kindly. At this moment, I felt true equality and respect. In Chongqing, I have seen too many people cast curious or sympathetic eyes on disabled people, but few people can treat them so naturally. The night before leaving, I went to the observation deck of Taipei 101 alone. Standing high up and looking at the entire city of Taipei, I suddenly wanted to cry. This 2-week journey has allowed me to see too many touching moments, including the persistence of Uncle Cheng in the small store in Tainan, the warm help of the elder sister in Kaohsiung, the life education in the restaurant in Taichung, and the equality and respect on the streets of Taipei. Looking back, this journey has changed me a lot. In Chongqing, I always lived in a hurry and rarely paid attention to the people and things around me. Now I have begun to learn to slow down and be more considerate of the people around me. After returning, I will start with myself and bring these good habits back to my hometown. On the return flight, I met the Taiwanese grandfather I met on the way to the city. He asked me with a smile, "Did you have fun this time?" I nodded. My eyes were a little wet, happy, especially happy. Yes, this is not just a trip, it is clearly a spiritual growth. It has been more than a month since I returned to Chongqing, but those warm pictures are still vivid in my mind. Every day on the subway on the way to work, I will take the initiative to give up my seat to the elderly. When I eat in the restaurant, I will clean up the tableware before leaving. When I see someone in need of help, I will lend a hand like the Kaohsiung sister. A few days ago, I shared my feelings about this trip in my circle of friends, and I didn't expect to receive a lot of resonance. A friend said that civilization is not a slogan written on a banner, but a little bit hidden in life. Yes, this trip to Taiwan taught me not only how to live, but also how to be a better person. Yesterday, I passed by the noodle shop downstairs and saw a takeaway boy hurriedly put down the tableware and was about to leave. I whispered to him, "Master, do you want to sort the garbage?" He was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "I'm sorry, I'll sort it now." Watching him carefully sorting the garbage, I felt that this was the beginning of change. This journey not only allowed me to see the beauty of Taiwan, but also helped me find the direction to move forward. Thank you everyone I met along the way. It is you who made me understand that the beauty of life lies in every gesture. That's all for today's video. If you think what I said is interesting, please like and follow me. Your support is the biggest motivation for me to continue updating. Thank you everyone.